Welcome back. All right, so welcome back to what was really a fighting night of hockey tonight, and it wasn't just the one game. I mean, we'll get to that. It was just weird. So I'll get to that. But congratulations, almost to the St. Louis Blues. Congratulations to the Winnipeg Jets on making the playoffs. And again, I'm wearing the jersey of a team that we know isn't making the playoffs, but they won tonight. So I'll wear their jersey because I'm not gonna have a chance to wear their jersey for game reviews as of about a week from now, right? Okay. So Dallas is still hanging on. They're barely hanging on. It could have been over tonight. It's not, but it's over. Like it is. And so basically they have to win out and Nashville has to lose both of their games. So they're technically alive, but I don't think they're going to win out. So Johnson scored from Killorn at 2 minutes and 14 seconds. That was on the first shot for Tampa. So I'm looking at this right away and saying, okay, so that's not great. And then there was too many stars on the ice, so Tampa Bay gets a power play, and Killorn almost scores to make it 2-0. Alexiak then had a fast break. That wouldn't go. Stars would get a power play. Klingberg would end up hitting the post. That's as close as they got. And so the Bolts would get a power play after that. They don't score. But then it's Sagan. His second game back, he gets a goal. Great pass by Pavelski. Robertson with the secondary assist at 19:33. And so it's 1-1. And honestly, it was a really good road period by Dallas. They hold Tampa to 4 shots in the first period. Second period, shots are 2-0 Stars at 5 minutes. Again, playing really, really well. They were controlling it, and Tampa Bay through 28 minutes only had 8 shots on net. That's it. So that bodes well for your team. If you're in Tampa and they've only got 8 shots through 28 minutes, their fans can't really get into it. It shows that they're not really getting anything going. And yeah, well, power play then for the Bolts. Sekera got hobbled during that, so it was kind of a 5-on-3.5. He stays in the game, but man, that had to hurt. He took a shot off the outside of the top of the foot there. Bolts go back to the power play and they score on it. It's Killorn on the power play from Gord and Point at 16:39. Braden Point had quite the game. Because then at 19:46, last minute of the period, one-man show. Braden Point, he ends up stealing it. Excellent moves, gets the goal. And it's 3-1 with 14 seconds left in the second period. And that's one that really hurts your team. So third period, early on, the Stars would get a power play. That was their second and last, and it doesn't score. Vasilevsky made some nice saves after the penalty kill ended. He wasn't overly busy in the first 2 periods, but he was pretty busy in the third, and he did pretty well. Gord gets a break. He hits the post. Sagan then had a tip shot that was saved. Tampa Bay had a 3-on-1 that was broken up. And then Sekera, a little bit after the halfway mark, he scores from Hanley and Hintz at 10:44, and it deflects in. They all count. Sekera with a rare goal, and that made it 3-2 in favor of Tampa. But less than a minute later, Chernak answers from Goudreau and Coleman at 11:34. So down by 2, Tampa has an empty net to shoot at pretty early, considering it was only a 2-goal lead. But Colton gets the empty netter from Joseph and Chernak at 16:47. Down 5-2 and knowing that their playoff lives are on the line, Dallas pulls the goaltender again. That allows Sergachev to get the empty netter from Chernak and Johnson at 19:08. For Chernak, that was 3 points in the third period. He doesn't end up getting a star. 2 of those points, of course, on empty netters. But 6-2 win. Tampa Bay goes to 36-14-3. For Dallas, they're 21-18-4. But remember, we're 53 games into Dallas' season and they've won 21. So even as a Dallas fan, it does not bother me that they're going to miss this last playoff spot to Nashville. It would have felt wrong to be doing a playoff preview for a team that didn't win anywhere near half of its games, as opposed to a team that did. That would have been tough. So the 3 stars in this one: Point, Killorn, and Vasilevsky. Dallas 6-4 were the shots in their favor in the first, 9-4 in favor of Tampa in the second, and then 12-7 Dallas in the third. They controlled Tampa very well. Final shots 22-20. They just could not control Braden Point at the right times. Power plays, Dallas 0-2. Tampa Bay 1-4. Hits 29-26 for Dallas. Block shots 18-9 for Dallas. Ottinger 14 saves on 18 shots. Vasilevsky 20 saves on 22 shots. And Tampa Bay. It looks like it's going to be Tampa Bay and Florida in the first round, huh? Looks like that's where we're going to get. Carolina wins that division. Tampa and Florida in the first round. Looking forward to that. That could be an amazing first round of hockey right there. I could be very happy watching that and reporting on that. Because honestly, I don't really care who wins that series. That series is just going to be great to cover. Next up, Montreal. Having a hard time with Ottawa. So here's the thing. Ottawa, terrible to start the season, right? Record's awful. And then they were winning some games where it felt like maybe there was some good fortune involved. Maybe the other team played poorly in order to make that happen. But now we're to a stage where Ottawa's got confidence. Ottawa's playing well. Ottawa's legit winning these games. So, Caulfield was prominent early in this game for the Montreal Canadiens. Forsberg stops a Toffoli shot. Forsberg, after getting his contract today, played pretty well. Shots were 4-3 for the Habs at 8 minutes. Dzingel steals one, can't beat Allen. Ryan Dzingel has gone ice cold for Ottawa recently. It was a great fit when he came back, and it's just he's gone ice cold. But Pinto scores his first NHL goal from Zub and Brandstrom at 11:35. Not long after that, Tkachuk thinks he scored, but it actually it goes across the top of the net, so he puts his hands up, but it never actually entered the net. Edmondson would score in the last minute from Toffoli at 19:28. But to the Sens' credit, and this is where it's different than it was early in the season, the Sens don't panic, and they almost answer before the period's out. And it doesn't adversely affect them. When those pucks go in their net now, it's not a problem. They still fight back. Second period, early power play for the Sens. It ends up getting 6 shots. So while their power play doesn't score tonight, it was a pretty rough power play. Just Allen played really well there. So Tkachuk would get a goal from Norris and Brandstrom at 3:44. That makes it 2-1 in favor of Ottawa. Connor Brown then fires one high. Evans had a chance that was saved at the other end. The Sens would get another power play. That was their second and last power play of the night. The Habs were really being outplayed in that second period. Every time I turned to that game, it was in Montreal's end. And with 7 seconds left in the period, so one of those devastating goals. This one here, 3-1, right? At the end of the second. This one, 3-1 at the end of the second. Almost exactly the same seconds, too. 14 seconds left here. 7 seconds left here. Paul from Brandstrom. So Nick Paul, who has gone a while without a goal. His work ethic is fantastic, and now the goal matches it. So we go to the third period with Ottawa ahead, and yeah, this really wasn't in any kind of doubt. Allen would deny Batherson, but Connor Brown, who's been red hot this year, scores from Zub and Tierney at 4 minutes and 40 seconds. Things then get kind of scrummy. The Habs get a power play. Habs would press at the half, and then it's Formenton scoring from Paul and White at 10 minutes and 19 seconds. The Habs would get a late power play. There was a shorthanded 2-on-1 for the Ottawa Senators, and the Habs would actually emerge with 0 shots on that power play, and that was their only power play in the game. So Ottawa wins this one 5-1. They go to 21-27-5. Montreal drops to 24-19-9. So it looked like they were probably going to get third. We come out of tonight and it's like, oh, never mind. Maybe that'll go to Winnipeg after all. So yeah, it changes fast. 3 stars in this one. Brandstrom might have been his best game as a Senator. Paul and Forsberg. Shots 11-10 in favor of Ottawa in the first, 17-7 Ottawa in the second. Montreal did outshoot them 14-6 in the third. Final shots 34-31 for Ottawa. Montreal 0 for 1 on the power play. Ottawa 0 for 2. Hits 37-31 Ottawa. Block shots 20-16 Ottawa. Allen 29 saves on 34 shots. And Forsberg 30 saves on 31 shots. If, and it's a big if Ottawa gets off to a good start next season, they're going to be pretty dangerous. And I'm already looking at next season and saying, how in the world am I going to try to predict divisions next year when everybody didn't play against these teams this year? And it's a tournament style. It's different when it's a regular schedule. I don't even think I'm going to try to predict who finishes where in the standings. I'm probably just going to try to do a grade of forwards, defense, and goaltending going into a season. And just say, all right, this team's got an A up front, a B up front, or a C, and all of that. Because I don't know how I'm going to predict standings. But I'll say this, Ottawa looks pretty good right now. So, if you weren't watching that, and you weren't watching the other game I talked about, you may very well have been watching Washington and the Rangers. Now look, if the NHL had suspended Tom Wilson, this doesn't happen. And I understand that there are fans who absolutely love this kind of hockey. There are also fans who say, oh, they're fighting again. And I was kind of doing that. I was keeping track of who was fighting who, and then I was seeing what was going on with the other games. Because to me, the fights weren't affecting the overall play. And I'm not sure what happens now. Like, I think coming out of this game, there's going to be a suspension, and it's not going to be a capital that gets suspended. So there was a line brawl in the opening face-off, and I put up here 1986 with a question mark, because it just feels like it's 80s hockey, and it just, I don't know, when it's staged fights right off the opening face-off, I just kind of go, yeah, all right, fine, okay, sure. Like, I honestly, I saw it was a line brawl on the opening face-off, and I kind of went, all right, and I switched over to one of the other games. Because in terms of reporting on these games, it doesn't really matter who wins the fights. And it didn't affect the outcome. It's not like the Rangers had this inspiring game. Once we got into the actual hockey game, the Caps kind of just beat them. So Smith and Wilson then had a fight. Smith gets the instigator penalty, so that's 2-10 for him. Then some hockey broke out, so the Rangers could kill off the penalty kill. Georgiev looked sharp early when he was tested, but we had more fighting. Raffl had a fight with Boteto. Lars Eller had a fight with Strome. And all I could think with that was, so let's say Strome gets into a fight and something happens to his hand. And I mean, you can say, well, that doesn't happen often, but it does happen. So the benches are half empty at this point. Everybody's in the box, which has been all over social media. All the pictures of the Caps and the Rangers all in the box, all standing up because there's 6 of them in there. Vanacek then saved a Gauthier shot. Miller had a shot that was saved from the point. The Caps were pressing at the half because hockey has to happen, so it did. There were some Bronx boos for Wilson. Not a surprise there. Not a full house, I know that, but noticeable every time he was on the ice. The Rangers then get a power play. It becomes a 5-on-3. The Caps would kill that off. And what's really funny is the power plays in this were hilarious. I don't think they really tracked them accurately, so I'm not convinced these numbers are accurate at all. Oshie then seemed to turn down a fight. It looked like he was being asked for a fight, and he went, nah, like he didn't have any interest. Power play for the Caps. Buchnevich takes a penalty, and Buchnevich, throughout this game, just seemed to, it felt to me like he wanted to prove something. Like he has watched this footage over and over and over, or people have brought it up to him over and over and over again since the game. And so he's probably looking at this and going, I have to go out there and prove something tonight. And what he proved was he could keep taking penalties. So Rooney and Wilson get misconducts. They're out. Buchnevich comes out. He's on the ice for 17 seconds and goes right back to the penalty box with another penalty. You're not helping your team by taking penalties. This is not helpful. Second period, 12 seconds in. And it's like a light switch flicks on. You don't get fights in the second or third period. You get hockey. And so we go from this scoreless fight filled about 100 penalty minutes in the first to a hockey game. Oshie scores on the power play, the Buchnevich penalty before it was killed off. Dillon and Van Riemsdyk with the assists on that, and the momentum was all Caps after that goal. And then there was a major to Buchnevich. It was a cross-check to the face. I fully expect player safety to come out with something tomorrow about that. And again, it felt like that was a play that was made by a player who came into tonight probably with a chip on his shoulder, feeling I got to prove something here. I have to prove myself. And so he's skating around all reckless because that's not his game. So he's completely off of his game, as were other members of the Rangers. This really isn't their game. By going out and getting into all this fighting, and you're riling up the Caps, and this can happen. So Buchnevich is out of the game now. The Rangers are down a top 6 forward and down a goal. Then that was a cross check to Mantha's face. It was one of those, what are you doing? Now I understand they were going back and forth. I understand that. But it was Buchnevich that went over that line. And again, it felt all night like he was trying to get something going. There was one point where he kind of slashes Wilson. You kind of see Wilson look at him like, you want to go? That seemed to be the reaction. And Wilson did have an opportunity to absolutely smoke Buchnevich in the first period and didn't. They mentioned that in between periods. So yeah, Oshie would get a goal from Orlov and Backstrom at 8 minutes and 26 seconds. And what was amazing was they then showed Oshie at the bench going, that's two. That's two. So tonight was a very important night for TJ Oshie. And he gets a couple of goals, and that storyline would start to take over from all of this other stuff. The TJ Oshie storyline becomes the storyline of the game. Caps were in full control, and then Nick Dowd scores at 14:48. Zdeno Chara then gets a 10-minute misconduct. Again, give them all 10-minute misconducts when they're acting up. Just go to the locker room, go sit down, just sit down, relax. Third period, early on, they get on the board, do the Rangers. Lafreniere from Hedel. Nice pass by Hedel at 1:15, and basically Lafreniere just pots it into the empty net. Lafreniere, looking good. Watch for the Rangers next season. As long as James Dolan doesn't fire all the players or something, I don't know. Things get kind of scrummy, and the Caps end up with a power play. The Caps then end up with another power play. So you're in a situation now where the Rangers are just taking penalties, and it's undisciplined hockey by them, and the Capitals are pretty well composed through this. Goalie pull with 3 minutes left, 2:23 left, the Rangers call a timeout. We end up with an empty net goal. Oshie, hat trick from Hagelin and Orlov at 18 minutes and 20 seconds. Oshie very emotional on the bench after that hat trick. He embraced Backstrom as well, and just, this is a big game for Oshie. And that made it 4-1. Now, before the game is out, Barron would score his first NHL goal from Jones and Hayek at 18:44. But that's as close as the Rangers are getting. They lose this one 4-2. The Capitals go to 34-14-5. They're first in the division again. And the Rangers drop to 26-22-6. And again, I personally would have said to the Rangers before this game, look, the best thing we can do is go out and try to win this game and make sure the Caps have a difficult time getting first place in the division. A physical, fighting game works into so many of the wheelhouses of the Capitals. It just does. So your 3 stars in this, Oshie, Orlov, and Vanacek. Do not try to combine all 3 of those names because it's not going to work. And I just accidentally did that. Oshie, Orlov, Vanacek. Shots in this one, 11 apiece in the first, where you got all the fighting and all the scrummy going on. And then 14-3 in the second for the Caps. 10-7 Caps in the third. Final shots, 35-21 for the Capitals. And in the end, they made it look kind of easy. Power plays, it said 3-0 for it said Washington was 3-0, and I'm like, that's not even a number. You can't divide 3 by 0. So I don't know, 1-3, and it said the Rangers had no power plays, so okay, sure. Even though they had a 5-on-3 right here. So it doesn't matter. There were a lot of power plays. I just assumed that whoever's tracking the power play said, yeah, screw it. I don't care. I'm going home. Tell Gary I said I'm not doing it. I'm just not doing it tonight. So yeah, I thought that was funny. 141 penalty minutes in this game. 141 penalty minutes. Yeah, it felt like the 80s. And in the 80s, we had games where there were 230, 240 penalty minutes where you get the whole bench clearing brawl thing going on. Hits, blocks, all that. Hits were 18-11 for the Rangers. Block shots 16-8 for the Rangers. I'm surprised the hits were only 29 in this game. That's the weird thing. Outside of all of the fighting, the hitting was relatively light. Look, this game's got 68 hits. This one has 29. So was it just everybody was in the box, so there wasn't anybody left to hit anybody? Vanacek saves 19 out of 21. Georgiev saves 31 out of 34. And these teams are done with each other until the fall. We have an expansion draft to come. We have free agency to come, and all kinds of trading that's going to happen. This is just done. This is done now and over with and finished. And I guarantee you that Tom Wilson loved playing this game. Absolutely loved. This is his kind of game. Oh, you want to turn the game into a slugfest and a bunch of fighty stuff? Oh, I guess if I have to. So, yeah, anyways, there you go. We shall move on to Nashville and Columbus, which of the games that took place at 4 o'clock my time, 7 o'clock Eastern, this one was the one that, I don't know, this one just didn't seem to have that same level of emotion. I was kind of surprised at Nashville in this. Jeannot scores at 3 minutes and 21 seconds. Now, keep in mind, this is where Tampa's already up 1-0. So I'm thinking, all right, so Nashville wins tonight. Dallas loses, and officially Nashville clinches a playoff spot. I'm okay with that. Columbus then gets a power play. Doesn't work. The Predators would press around the 9-minute mark. And the zone time was really in favor of the Predators in that first period. Not getting a lot of shots, but a lot of zone time, which means it's not in your zone often, and so you don't have to worry about it. 1-0 Nashville after 1, second period. Columbus had an early power play, and they score on it. It's Roslovic scoring from Bjorkstrand and Jones at 2 minutes and 8 seconds. Then, as the period's rolling along, Laine throws a puck back. It ends up going off. I think it went off the ref. It was either the ref or the linesman. And it was just one of those passes where I really didn't understand what Laine was trying to do there either. And it ends up with a 2-on-0 break for Nashville, and they score. It's Yarncroke at 17:53. And the assist technically goes to Laine on that one. Bjorkstrand would score from Lettinen at 19:09, however, to tie up the game again. So it's 2-2 after 2. And this is a game that, again, if Nashville wins, they're in the playoffs, and it's against Columbus. So this is a game you should be able to win. Third period, Preds power play in the first minute. Columbus, this is fine, and they kill it off. And Nashville, that's their only power play of the night, meaning they're not driving enough of the play. They're not forcing Columbus to take penalties. Shots were 3-1 for the Preds at 5 minutes. Both teams defending well at the halfway mark. Gavrikov deflected a Cunnin shot off the ice surface out into the crowd. I'm not going to say out of the building. It's going 800 miles an hour right through the roof. No, it didn't. It was a Cunnin shot. It's not like it was McDavid or Draisaitl. Columbus pressed with 7 minutes left. All apologies to Luke Cunnin if he ever sees this video. You've got it. You can shoot at 800 miles an hour, Luke Cunnin. Grigorenko then scores from Gavrikov and Lettinen at 13 minutes and 50 seconds. Columbus is ahead. So this is where I'm expecting Nashville a big answer, right? Things get scrummy with 4:41 left. A little bit of emotion in there. Nashville pulls the goalie with 2 minutes left. 1:25 left. The Predators call a timeout. Atkinson, nice break. Saros makes the save because they had to put the goalie back in. When they had the timeout, the goalie had to go back in because the face-off was at center ice. Good thing, because Atkinson would have had an empty net. But they would pull the goalie again with about a minute left, and then Bjorkstrand gets the empty netter from Domi at 19:59. So Domi's like, yes, got another point. 1 second left, I got it. And Columbus wins this one 4-2. They go to 17, 25, and 12. Just playing for pride, but also playing to play the spoiler. Nashville drops to 29, 23, and 2. And again, 1 point by Nashville, and any point lost by Dallas, even if it's an overtime loss, if it's a straight-out loss, anything like that for Dallas, they're out. 3 stars, Bjorkstrand, Grigorenko, and Lettinen. Shots in this one, 10-7 Columbus in the first, 9 apiece in the second. Nashville outshot them 16-8 in the third. Final shots, 32-27 Nashville. Nashville 0 for 1 in the power play. Columbus 1 for 2. Hits, 17 apiece. Block shots, 16-11 for Columbus. Saros, 23 saves on 26 shots. Merzlikins, 30 saves on 32 shots. And, so Columbus playing the spoiler, and Dallas is still technically alive in the hunt for a playoff spot. But they would need to win their games and have Nashville lose theirs. That's the only way it's going to work. All right, now I need to change boards. That's right, this board's only got 2 games on it. So it's just that whole figuring out how to manage my boards better thing that I've been doing this season. Hope I remember this for next year. I know there's things that I forget from one season into the next, and the way I do my reviews sort of gets back to where it was by the end of the following season. So hopefully I remember some of this stuff for the next season. I could write down reminders, but I just forget where those were because old and all that. So Anaheim and St. Louis. You know, St. Louis had an opportunity tonight to maybe clinch, right? And they don't either. So we still have some uncertainty, or do we? St. Louis should still be the number 4 seed. I can't see them not getting it. The Ducks get an early power play, though, in this one, and they were ahead in the shots 4-1 at 5 minutes. And the Ducks were playing very well. Comtois then had a fight with Mikkola, because tonight's the night of the fights. Blues get a power play, and Hoffman scores on the power play from O'Reilly and Falk at 11:52. The Blues get another power play towards the end of the period, and they were playing very, very well in that second half. They end up out-shooting Anaheim, out-chancing Anaheim, and if it wasn't for Stolarz, this is probably worse than 1-0. Second period, Bozak had a pass through the slot that misses. Kyrou had a shot that was saved by Stolarz. Binnington was sharp when tested. Didn't see a ton of opportunities through the first, I'll say, half of the game. And then Jones scores from Carrick and Fowler at 12:57. Then there's a late power play by the Blues. Nope. They did press after that penalty expired, but we go to the third period with this tied 1-1. Unexpected score. Early chance for the Blues. Goes the other way. Zegras had a chance that was stopped, and then not too long after that, Anaheim gets a lead. So it's Fleury from Terry at 2 minutes and 15 seconds, and this is where you expect that pushback by the Blues, right? The desperate hockey that got them into a position where they could be fourth in the division. Larson ends up making a save while the Blues were pressing. Nice save by him. Didn't know how important that was at the time. Binnington then collided. I believe it was Steele's skate. He ends up getting hurt on the play, and the skate, it looks like, cut him on the chin. Gets under his mask, cuts him on the chin. Not bad. Like, we're not talking like, blood gushing or anything, but he was cut to the point where he had to keep during commercial breaks going over to the bench and getting his Band-Aid changed, and you could see the blood on his jersey. So, some good work there by Binnington to stick around. Probably could have used stitches on that play. Not that I saw the cut or anything, but something like that, you probably are going to need stitches because it's a skate blade. Or was Wallman's skate? That's right, too. It was Wallman's skate. So Binnington was okay. And then Clifford scores from Barbashev at 5:29. So they've tied it up. And as soon as they tie it up, because it's the Blues and the way they've been playing lately, I just expect them to end up winning it. The Ducks would press for the lead. Stolarz catches a shot from Clifford. Kyle Clifford, after getting that goal, suddenly seemed to think he was a top six forward. He was taking a lot of shots, and he looked really dangerous. And it reminds you, too, that Clifford is more than just, tough guy and a big physical player. He can play offensively when he wants to. Ducks were definitely the sharper team. Comtois had a chance that was saved. Carrick had a slew foot in this game that was missed. Flat out missed. And it's one of those plays that I don't know. I don't know if somebody sends that to player safety or what, but it was a slew foot, and it's one of those things where the player wasn't hurt, but could have been. So, thankfully nothing came out of that, but yeah, that was iffy. Zegras then had a chance, was stopped. The Ducks were pressing with 4:28 left. The Ducks get a power play. That was a no. So we go to overtime. In overtime, the Blues were in control, couldn't bury it. Binnington then denied Jones, and Stolarz was out of the net. So he's outside of the area he can play the puck in. He's in the area he can't play the puck in, so he can't touch it. So he's caught out of the net, but the Blues couldn't bury it. It's one of those situations where I can't touch it. So yeah, they couldn't bury it, and we go to a shootout. And in the shootout, Troy Terry gets the winner. Now, what was really nice was after this game, so we had the nice moment with TJ Oshie in the Washington game, right, which was very nice. Backes gets a really nice send-off at the end of this game. He's retiring. It's his last game in St. Louis. I thought he had a good game. He had opportunities in the first period in this game. He played well. He gets the first star of the game. Binnington and Hoffman are stars number 2 and 3. And it was really nice to see that send-off for him after the game. So again, it's a feel-good moment on a night where people aren't necessarily talking about or expecting feel-good moments. The shots in this one were 11-9 St. Louis in the first, 8-7 in favor of Anaheim in the second, 16-6 Anaheim in the third. In the overtime, both teams had 2 shots. 35-26 overall in Anaheim's favor. Anaheim was 0 for 2 on the power play. St. Louis was 1 for 3. And yeah, Anaheim going to 17-30-7. St. Louis drops to 24-19-8. They don't get that clinching spot, and it just looked like Anaheim wanted it more tonight. Hits were 23-17 for Anaheim. That may have been the Backes factor as well. Let's go out there and get one for Backy. Blocks 11-8 St. Louis. Stolarz 24 saves on 26 shots. He continues to impress me with every game he plays. Binnington 33 saves on 35 shots. And that'll bring up his save percentage, and he played well. All right, we weren't done with overtime for the night, and we also weren't done with fighting. So Vegas in against Minnesota, and I'm going to go out on a limb and say these teams don't like each other. I'm going to go out on a limb and say if these teams fight each other in the playoffs, it'll be a fight. It won't be as much of a matchup as some of the other ones might be. First minute, Vegas gets chances. They came out, they were fired up right off the bat. Kaprizov, his line then gets a chance, and even though he's not the center, I just refer to it as the Kaprizov line because he's the one that makes it go. Vegas then gets an early power play. Martinez normally or nearly buries one for Vegas. The Wild would get a power play. That was a no. And then Colasar robbed Cole. Cole had an opportunity, and it was Colasar that makes the save because Fleury wasn't there to do it. There's a scrum at the half, and things get kind of fighty. Now, coming out of that, for some reason, the referee thought Kaprizov had hit, I think it's Whitecloud. He hit a Whitecloud in the face with his stick. The thing is, Whitecloud punched him. So there was no stick involvement, so they reviewed it. They were going to give him a 5. It would have been a 5 in a game for Kaprizov, which would have changed the rest of this game. And they give him 2 minutes instead, and the Wild end up coming out of this with a power play. So, and then Foligno had a fight with Haig. And how this started was the play where Kaprizov ends up getting hit by Whitecloud. It was at the tail end of a play where Haig dangerously boarded Kaprizov. And Foligno had seen that, and Foligno kind of went crazy. And he decided, Haig's mine. So he goes out and he has a fight with Haig based on starting with that fight, or starting with that hit on Kaprizov. So this game started looking kind of ugly. And this was right after I'd watched that first period with Washington and the Rangers. Then there's a late power play for the Wild. Fleury was definitely saving the day in that first period, making all kinds of highlight reel saves. Act surprised. And then there was almost another fight in the final minute, but the linesmen jump in. So this was getting ugly. Second period, Wild with the early press. Vegas would make the clear. Theodore pinching, getting some chances. Kaprizov driving the play as well the other way. Some good back and forth action in that period. Talbot robbery at 7 minutes. He can't rob them all, though. Stevenson scores from Janmark at 8 minutes and 30 seconds. Vegas would then get a power play. They don't score on it, but they come out of the second period with a 1-0 lead. Third period, Vegas's defense is much improved in this game over how it was in the last game. Last game allowing too many goals. This one, not many goals, not many great opportunities either. That would change. Johansson was denied as the Wild were pressing. There was a post for Spurgeon. Bugstad then had a shot that went off of Fleury's shoulder. Nice save by Fleury. Hartman was denied long after that. But again, much like Talbot, Fleury can't stop them all. And Kaprizov scores from Zuccarello and Hartman at 11-13. That's 25 goals for Kaprizov. And he was highlight reel all night tonight for Minnesota. Then the Wild with a turnover, but Vegas couldn't bury it. And then exactly, 2 minutes and 10 seconds after his first goal, Kaprizov scores a beauty at 13-23 to give Minnesota the lead and give himself the Calder Trophy. So it looks like Minnesota should win this, but with 6:15 left, Vegas gets a power play. Sturm was out there shot blocking. They were doing a good job until, with 1 second left in the power play, at 15:44, it's Smith from Carlson and Martinez. Power play goal ties up the game. The Wild were pressing. Vegas ices the puck. Talbot made nice saves around the horn. Like right at the end of that third period, he's saving it. But we go to overtime. Vegas is unbeaten in 3-on-3 overtime. And that remains the case. I believe they're now 8-0 in 3-on-3 overtime. Pietrangelo scores from Tuck and Marchessault at 1:53. And that was the second shot for Vegas. And they win it in overtime, 3-2. So Vegas improves their chances of finishing first in the division by a lot. They go to 37-13-2. Minnesota 33-14-5. Still have their eyes on finishing second. It's still possible they could. And here are 3 stars: Pietrangelo, Kaprizov, and Fleury. Shots in this one: 10-8 Minnesota in the first, 12-8 Vegas in the second, 12-9 Vegas in the third, and they outshoot them 2-1 in the overtime. Final shots: 34-28 for the Vegas Golden Knights. Power plays: Vegas 1 for 3, Minnesota 0 for 3. Hits: 19-17 for Minnesota. Block shots: 22-11 for Minnesota. Fleury, 26 saves on 28 shots, and he does it. He passes Roberto Luongo. He's now number 3 on the all-time wins list. There's a little ways to get to Patrick Waugh, but now has 490 wins. Next season, he should hit 500. Talbot, 31 saves on 34 shots. Not too shabby a night for him either. Without Talbot's performance, this game doesn't get to overtime, and Minnesota doesn't get that very important point. So, that being said, let's go to the last sport. All right, Winnipeg comes into tonight. 7 losses in a row. Probably feeling pretty crappy about themselves. So what's going to fix that? Calgary. The Flames. Flames fix it. 1 minute and 9 seconds into this, on the first shot, Lowry scores from Cop. So this is a team that apparently Markstrom has problems playing against. Makes sense. He came out of Vancouver. I could have told Calgary fans, hey, you got to watch a Vancouver Canucks goaltender against Winnipeg, because for whatever reason, it doesn't work out. Shots were 3-0 for the Jets at 4 minutes. Keep in mind, for Calgary, they were trying to avoid being eliminated from the playoffs here. Jets get a power play. Dubois missed the net. That power play's killed off. The Flames didn't get their first shot of the game until 9:42 of the first period. It was really all Jets early on. Flames then get a power play. They would even up the shots. The shots were 4 apiece with 4.5 minutes left. It was not a game that was all full of fantastic opportunities, and we come out of the first period 1-0 Winnipeg. And for Winnipeg, that's good. You're on the road. That's the kind of game you want. Flames would get a power play early in the second period, and that leads to a Winnipeg goal. So Lowry scores the shorthanded marker from DeMello and Kopp at 5:33. 34 minutes and 50 seconds into this game. So, the shots were 11-10 in favor of Calgary. Not a lot to report on. Really, like, more than half the game's done, and there were 21 shots to that point. It would pick up from there. It picked up substantially from there. The Jets pressed with 4.5 minutes left. There was a late power play for the Flames. A good shot for Giordano was stopped by Hellebuck. That's killed off. The Flames almost got one. Then it goes the other way. Blake Wheeler does score, unassisted at 18:46. Wheeler makes it 3-0 after 2 periods. Third period, Jets press. They end up drawing a power play. And who is it? It's Wheeler on a big goal. He scores from Scheifele and Stastny at 3 minutes and 2 seconds. For Blake Wheeler, that's point number 800. For Mark Scheifele, that's point number 500. I don't know who gets the puck. I assume it goes to Wheeler. Maybe it goes to Scheifele every second week. Maybe somebody gets visitation with that puck on the weekends. But that's a pretty important puck, isn't it? 800 point and the 500th point on the same shot. So, yeah, Wheeler, pretty good game for him. And for the Jets, they're up 4-0. Flames would try to answer. The Jets go back to the power play. It led to a shorthanded chance for Nordstrom and other shorthanded chances, which led to things getting kind of scrummy 6 minutes and 50 seconds into this. The Flames then get a 4-minute power play, and this is where the game is lost for Calgary. They end up not getting a goal. Lindholm had a chance that was saved. DeMello cleared it out. It was in a dangerous spot on the ice. He clears it out. The whole 4 minutes killed off. Kopp then gets awarded a penalty shot. That was saved, and I really wanted Kopp to get that. He's had a fantastic season, but I think Kopp will be happy with 2 assists tonight. So your final score is 4-0. They hold on to the goose egg. 28, 21, and 3 now for Winnipeg. They do clinch a playoff spot. For Calgary, 22, 26, and 3. Hope fades further. 3 stars, Lowry, Wheeler, and Hellebuck. Shots 7-6 Winnipeg in the first, 9-5 Calgary in the second, 17-7 Calgary in the third. They got a lot of opportunities, just couldn't bury it. Final shots 32-19 for the Flames. Power plays 1 for 3 for Winnipeg, and for Calgary, this is what changes the game. They're 0 for 5. Hits 19-9 for Calgary. Both teams had 13 blocks. Hellebuck 32 saves for his 23rd career shutout. And as if that's not enough numbers in this game, Paul Maurice with his 300th win behind the bench for the Winnipeg Jets. Oh, and at the other end, Markstrom saved 15 out of 19. Probably a game he'd like to forget. He can talk to Elvis Merzlikins. They can come up with some kind of a little zapper thing. Watch Legends of Tomorrow enough that you got the zapper thing, you just forget. You just forget. It's like Men in Black, right? But it's real because it's Legends of Tomorrow. It's not some fake thing. I'm of course kidding. All right, next up. Well, see, this is the thing. Colorado had this one and then they didn't. And I don't know how else to put this. For the Colorado Avalanche, I don't want to overreact, but if they end up falling to third in the division, then you got to go through Minnesota and then probably Vegas. Probably, both on the road. I'm kind of surprised at how they've fallen off here. And so early chances for the Avs. The Sharks get a power play. That was a no. The Avs then get a power play. That was also a no. Pressed by the Avs after that power play ended. Sharks would get another power play. And then this is where it kind of drives me nuts. So the announcers for Colorado, and the idea that there was a high stick, but it was on a follow through. So it gets McKinnon in the mouth, and it looked ugly, but it was on a follow through. Those aren't penalties. And they were saying, oh, they missed that. It's a follow through. I don't know. Well, they can review that. No, it's a follow through. Those aren't penalties. We've talked about that in videos. It's not a penalty if it's on a follow through. If you get hit in the face with a stick, and it's on a follow through of a shot, not a penalty. Now, if he's rearing back to take the shot, then it is. Shots favor San Jose by the end of that period, but I still thought Colorado was in control and going to win this. Second period, shots were 4-3 for the Avs, 7 minutes in that period. And again, I thought they were outplaying San Jose to that stage. Balcers had a fast break, which was defended nicely by Timmins. McDonald then misses one high. The Avs get a power play. That was killed off. They pressed. The Avs did with 5.5 minutes left. Another good start for Kozanosh. Kozanosh is making a good argument for why, when the season's done, I need to get him into videos. I need to talk about him in videos. Balcers and Kozanosh are the two Sharks I want to discuss in videos. Jost, however, would ruin his night from Nemeth and McDonald at 15:39. But don't worry, that night gets saved. Avs then had a chance broken up by Burns. McKinnon line was pressing, and some really big saves by Kozanosh when they're down. Knyzhov then blocked a Landeskog shot. All the momentum was with the Avs. And then Burakovsky gets his 17th, which ties his career high, I believe, from last year. From Kadri and Timmins at 18-18. So Timmins with a good game. And then the Avs press again after. But before the period is out, those really, really key goals you need to avoid at the end of the period, Avs don't. Hurdle from Kane and Barabanov at 19:47. So it's 2-1 Colorado after 2. And I'm still thinking, yeah, but Colorado's going to win this. It's Colorado. But third period, early chances for the Sharks. And one of them goes in. Hurdle from Kane and Knyzhov at 2 minutes and 50 seconds. The Avs then tried to answer. Not happening. Kozanosh says no. Meyer had a wrapper, I should say, that won't go. Meyer, not Myers. Meyer. Timo Meyer. Avs then had a 2-on-1. Jost fires one high. He played well tonight. Power play then for the Sharks. Grubauer would lose his stick behind the net, and eventually they take care of it. Carlson gets the power play goal from Kane and Hurdle at 9:18. So Hurdle with a big game, Kane with 3 assists, and yeah, that makes it 3-2. So when the goalie doesn't have his stick, shoot high, and maybe that's not what he's expecting. Now it reminds me of last night where John Garrett was talking about when a goaltender doesn't have his stick, why do they try to shoot high? Goalie's thrown off anyways when he doesn't have a stick. And the Avs in the first half of the period, while San Jose has 2 goals, they had 1 shot. So I'm not trying to take anything away from San Jose, but at a time where the Avs should be trying to, lock down home ice advantage in that first round, it just wasn't there for them. They would push back, however. The Sharks had a power play that was killed off. The Avs would press with 3.5 minutes left, and then with 2:26 left, they pulled the goaltender. They got opportunities, could not tie the game. Sharks win this one 3-2. They go to 21, 26, and 6. Colorado drops to 34, 13, and 4. So Minnesota fans, it's not done. It's not done at all. Hurdle, Kane, and Kozanosh are your 3 stars. The shots 12-10 San Jose in the first, 16-9 Colorado in the second, and then 12-6 San Jose in the third. Final shots 33-32 for San Jose. Power plays 0 for 2 for Colorado. 1 for 4 for San Jose. Hits, 29-18 San Jose. Block shots, 21-7 San Jose. They just seemed to want it. They were more intense tonight. Grubauer saves 30 out of 33 and Kozanosh 30 out of 32. Very good game. So, yeah, that was actually more of a fun game to watch than I thought it would be. And that does happen. That's why I tell people, if you have access to watching these games, I don't care how you consume your hockey. Sometimes these games you look and go, that's going to be a dud. Watch it. Sometimes it's not a dud. Sometimes it's a lot of fun to watch. All right, last game of the night, LA and Arizona. Anaheim didn't play 2 games tonight. So LA is not out. Arizona is. Mathematically, LA is still alive. And this game tonight, they just went out there and they did what they had to do. They made sure that Arizona doesn't have hope left. Ekman Larson would score from Garland and Bunting at 1 minute and 19 seconds. Yeah, Arizona scores early, but they don't score often. Velarde would answer for Iafallo at 429. Velarde had a really good game tonight. And I have to say, Gabe Velarde over the last few weeks has been impressive to me. I know people will say, well, of course, you like Gabe Velarde. I have since before he was drafted. So, yeah, I track the player, and it's nice to see he's tracking in the right direction scoring-wise at the end of the season. But he was last year, too. Shots were 6-2 for the Coyotes at 8 minutes. So Aiden Hill came into tonight with an incredibly good save percentage at home over the last 4 games, and he'd won all 4. So they're confident with Hill in net. Tonight it doesn't really translate that way. Peterson, very busy to this point in the game, and then Anderson Dolan scores from Athanasiou and Byfield at 13:03. I trust they're not going to take that point away from him, that's his first NHL point. Now that I've said it, they'll probably take it away from him. Shots were evening up in the second half, but the Coyotes get a power play before the period's out, and it's Chychrun who gets his, 18th of the year? From Garland and Goligoski at 17:44. So Garland was very good tonight, and the score was 2-2 after 1. Second period. Things get scrummy early, a little bit fighty as well. We end up with some 4-on-4 out of that. Peterson then stopped a Garland shot. Hill stopped a good chance for Mata. Larson had a near miss, and the Coyotes end up going to the power play. Kings say no. They kill that off. Good penalty kill by the Kings. Press at the half then by LA. Chychrun had a nice snapshot that was turned aside. And I will say, and I agree with this, this is something that Tyson Nash talked about. Chychrun's snapshot, or really nice wrist shot, but man, the flex he gets on that stick, like they showed it from the side, the flex he gets on that stick is absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely, it's just ludicrous to see how he takes that shot and the amount of flex he has on the stick. But it is as dangerous as the slap shots of Al McInnes' day. Like, it just feels like they go 150 miles an hour. But yeah, so that was turned aside. Half of the Kings seem to be named Anderson. Like, just listening to it, and Anderson passes it up. There's Anderson Dolan, comes back, and there's Mikey Anderson. He passes it over to Elias Anderson, over to Anderson Dolan. Yeah, they need more Andersons. So pick up Freddie Anderson as a free agent in the offseason. There are numerous other Andersons I'm sure you can pick up. You can pick up Andersons born in Canada, Andersons born in Sweden, probably a couple of American Andersons rolling around. And then they can just be the LA Andersons. Sure. And Arn Anderson could be the mascot. Why not? Sure. Do it. But I thought it was funny because every time the puck was turned over, it seemed to be a guy named Anderson that had it. Late Coyotes power play, and that's Elias Anderson, Mikey Anderson, and Jared Anderson Dolan. There was chances for the Coyotes, but the period comes to an end during their power play. So third period, the Kings would finish off the kill, and then it's Velarde scoring from Anderson. That's Elias Anderson, and Walker at 4:42. That made it 3-2 in favor of the Kings. And remember, this is a game Arizona needs to win to stay alive in the playoff hunt. Kopitar was buzzing after that. He wanted that point number 1,000. Hill robs Byfield. He's not allowed to have a goal. Coyotes get a power play. That was killed off. The Kings then get a power play. That was killed off as well. Garland had a shot deflected wide as he was very dangerous late in this game. Then the goalie was pulled. Coyotes were pressing, but on a face-off, Kopitar wins the face-off. Sean Walker hits the empty net at 19:23. Kopitar with the assist, point number 1,000. And a nice ovation from the Arizona crowd for him on that. Showing they're not poor sports on a night where their team's taken out of the playoffs with a 4-2 loss. So LA goes to 22-24-6. For Arizona, they're 22-27-6. So same amount of points. LA's played 3 last games. 3 stars Kopitar with the 1,000th point, of course. Velarde and Garland. Shots 13-8 Arizona in the first, 11-4 Arizona in the second, and 10-6 in favor of LA in the third. Final shots 30-22 in favor of Arizona. LA 0 for 1 on the power play. Arizona 1 for 4. Hits 30-22 for Arizona. Block shots 14-10 for LA. Peterson saves 28 out of 30. If it wasn't for Kopitar's 1,000th point, I think Peterson would have been the 3rd star. Hill 18 saves on 21 shots for Arizona. And now it's better luck next year for the Coyotes. But there you go. 9 games in the books tonight. We got 5 games tomorrow. So looking forward to that. And tonight is done. So there you go. Let me know your thoughts regarding tonight's games in the comment section below. And I know people are going to say Shannon's anti-fighting. I'm not anti-fighting. I don't ever see the NHL getting rid of it. It doesn't bother me. It doesn't really do anything for me either. Like when there's a fight on the ice and I'm at a game, I just kind of watch and I'm like, oh, he's fighting. And there's other people around me get excited. And I know there's fans who get excited, but Again, I'm not in favor of taking it out of the game, but it just doesn't. It's not my thing. It's sort of like I'm not going to ban a band that I don't like. I'm going to say nobody else should listen to that because I don't like it, but I can't. No, I can't say that either. It's not that I don't like fight. It's hard to pin it down, but it is part of the game. They're never going to get rid of it. And the only thing is that what happens in that game tonight really is a statement about how Department of Player Safety got it wrong, because we're very fortunate there wasn't a really ugly incident. And so, yeah, let's just hope that that things even out from here. All right. Thank you guys so much for all your support. As always, don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. The channel's doing crazy numbers the last couple of days. Even the additional subscribers greatly welcomed and just fantastic. And the Discord's been good too. I just have to say, got a large Discord and it's been pretty solid throughout. With all the topics that are going on now, my wife's on there a lot, and I do check on it myself. I just don't comment on there a lot, but I've been checking on it myself, and yeah, there you go. Thank you guys very much for all your support, and for those who are part of the community, thanks. I will talk to you guys again in the morning.